Hi, welcome to Greenings from Colorado, where we discuss all aspects of legalized marijuana here in the state of Colorado and around the world. Today we're going to have a little different episode. Joining us is my friend Nigel Aves. We found him on a street corner. He will be talking to us about the different countries that he has lived in and some of the different issues that come up whenever legalizing marijuana becomes a topic. Hi, Nigel.
How's it going?
Great, thanks for being here.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
Well, tell us now, how many countries have you lived in again?
Oh, well, let me have a quick think here. Started off in England, of course, then moved to Norway, then moved to Holland, back to England for a short time, then across to Belgium, then to Germany, then to America, New Hampshire, Alabama, and of course here in Colorado.
And of the 6 countries that you've lived in, how many have either legalized or decriminalized marijuana usage?
Okay, Norway has decriminalized, but not while I was there. Holland, when I moved there, had already decriminalized. I'm not sure about Belgium. I don't believe Belgium has yet. But of course, here in Colorado, we've also decriminalized, or rather legalized, which is a bit of a difference.
Yes, yes, indeed.
Yes.
If you don't know the difference, look up blue laws online.
Absolutely.
Now, when you were living in Holland and it was decriminalized, what were the most noticeable trends?
What they did was, after they had decriminalized, and they then allowed it to be the police chief of each particular district to make a decision on whether it was decriminalized within their district, which covered about 85% of the country. I lived in a little place called Mastek, which is not far from Amsterdam itself. And it was totally open society. It was absolutely wonderful. You used to be able to drive down to the dam, park up, go into the red light district, which ironically is one of the safest areas of Amsterdam, because they don't want trouble there. They want it to be nice and peaceful and get people in to spend their money. And I used to go to 2 places. One was the Hard Rock Cafe, which is the best hard rock cafe in the world. And my favorite was a little place called the Bulldog. And you used to walk into the Bulldog. There used to be a guy sitting at the end of the bar. You'd walk up to him. He'd have a big book, just with lots of pages. Okay. On each page, you'd probably have 4 different types of grass or hash that you could buy. And you looked through it. If you saw one that caught your eye, you could have a little smell of it. Yeah, I'd like some of that. And you could then either buy a 20 guilder or a 50 guilder bag. 20 guilders was about $10 back then, just to give you a bit of an idea.
When was back then?
Oh, back then was in fact when was it? That would be 1976. Holland was very sensible very early. They made a quick decision. You know what? We're never going to get rid of drugs. It isn't going to happen. And they decriminalized. And I think they've been very happy with that decision ever since.
We found here in Colorado that legalization in and of itself has not increased usage among teenagers or adults. People who were going to use it still do. People who weren't still don't. That's the bottom line. And currently in the state of Colorado, our marijuana dispensaries outpopulate Starbucks 3-1.
That's quite a number.
Isn't it, though?
That is quite a number.
And when you think about the tax revenues coming off of it, I'll be honest with you. I'm originally from South Dakota, and it breaks my heart that a state which is so agriculturally gifted is turning its back on the world's most profitable cash crop ever. I mean, marijuana versus cotton, for instance, it's 1,000,000 to 1. And look at how many people were murdered and enslaved just for the sake of cotton. Come on now, folks. Just because it wasn't in Genesis 1:1 doesn't mean we shouldn't be growing it.
That is so very, very true. and you know, every state that has actually legalized has seen the benefits. And there are now so many of us states around that have seen these benefits that I don't think anyone in Washington dare stick the old stick in the hornet's nest I think they're going to be a little bit scared. I think they'd have a lot of pushback.
Well, I have yet to see somebody who goes into Washington who doesn't like tax revenue.
Correct.
I mean, let's be honest, it doesn't matter what party you're in, you like tax revenue.
Do you mind if we nip back to Europe for a second?
By all means.
You know, there's one country which I haven't lived in, because we only talked about the countries I lived in, but there's one country, Portugal, which is a classic example. In 2001, they legalized every drug.
Every drug.
Across the board.
Doesn't matter what it is.
Doesn't matter what it is. It can be marijuana, it can be cocaine, it can be heroin, it can be whatever ecstasy, it can be whatever, LSD, whatever you fancy.
Methamphetamines.
Methamphetamines, it can be whatever. Interesting things happened. Has Portugal turned into a drug haven? No, hasn't happened. In fact, drug usage has gone down. Surprise, surprise, surprise.
That's interesting.
If you get stopped, you are allowed to have on your person, whichever drug is your favorite drug, a 10-day supply.
Nice.
Okay? If you go over 10 days, okay, you then have, because you've now broken the law, you now have to meet a lawyer, a social worker, and I can't remember what the other one, oh, doctor. And the three of them talk to you about, are you addicted? Because they think that if you have more than a 10-day supply, you're addicted, totally addicted. And they then talk about the treatments that are available.
But there's no ticket or fines?
There's no ticket, there's no fines. Now, you can get fined, and obviously if I had a pound of coke on me, even though I know it's only a 10-day supply, they're not going to think that way. So, you know, the thing is, they have done it correctly. They are not making criminals out of people that make small, silly mistakes.
Well,
isn't that amazing?
That's not just amazing, that's wise. I feel that one of the reasons marijuana is still illegal is because it makes money. It makes money to put people in prison. And we do have a profit-based prison system, therefore... Right. Wouldn't it be nice if it wasn't illegal and then our profit-based prison system could actually thrive off of real criminals?
I mean, a lot of the people that are watching this show here in America really ought to do a little bit of investigation to see just how many people Portugal and Holland put in prison for minor drug offences. And they're going to discover it's an amazingly small number.
Just think of all the tax dollars we could save.
Exactly. Exactly. Oh, and there's one other thing that was interesting. I found this interesting. The other benefit, guess what? HIV has gone down in percentage of population since 2001 in Portugal. Because it's now everything is legal. So you can go and buy a syringe, you can go and buy your needles. No one's going to look down their noses at you. And yeah, the amount of HIV cases has now dropped significantly in Portugal. So drug usage has gone down, HIV usage has gone down.
Tell me something.
Yes.
Now that you live in Colorado where it's legal, do you smoke pot?
Do I smoke pot? Now let me have a think about that. I've smoked it since the 60s. So yes, I do still smoke pot. But I find today's pot in Colorado just too strong. I love the stuff from the 70s, where you could smoke it all night long, get a good old buzz going, go to bed and get a good night's sleep. Now I have 3 hits and I go to sleep after about 10 minutes.
Okay, now for what it's worth, I can smoke it all night long and I'm just fine, okay? I'm not a lightweight. Are you ready?
Use it for medicinal?
I do.
Oh, okay.
I do. I use it as pain prevention because I suffer from frequent migraines.
That's a very, very good usage.
And it makes a world of difference.
Yes. I would not have tried this at the start of the interview because we were working, because I don't believe you should work and smoke, but I am quite happy to try it now.
Well, I am quite happy to work and smoke, so let's do the part that I like best. Let's taste today's strain. It is a delicious sativa called, are you ready for this?
Yes.
It's called Sour Tangy.
Sour Tangy.
Sour Tangy.
Let me have a little smoke.
Smell that.
That smells mild. You're going to surprise me, aren't you?
It smells.
That smells mild, but it's also a smell that takes me straight back to the 60s.
It smells very citrusy. It's
Yes.
got a sweetness to it. It does happen to fall at about 28% THC, which is significant.
Yes.
But it is a sativa. Therefore, you're more likely to want to have a burger when we're done here, maybe some ice cream,
Right.
as opposed to wanting to nap. You'll still be able to clean house this afternoon.
Okay. we shall see.
Let's give it a try, huh?
So while you're getting that thing fired up, how long have you been smoking?
Marijuana?
Yeah.
I didn't start until my late 20s,
Oh, okay.
and I smoked socially until I had traumatic brain injuries. And it became just so much harder to function without, because of the pain. The pain interrupts my functionality, and
Yeah.
and therefore having some, particularly indicas, on hand makes a world of difference in my ability to move
Right.
from day to day.
I'll let you get fired up. Let me try this stuff.
It's coffee.
See, I'm used to smoking it as a cigarette rather than these fancy little things.
It's pretty though, isn't it?
That has an interesting aftertaste, like a sour drop. It's nice. That is good. Now you see, I can feel this now affecting me almost immediately, whereas if back in the 70s, you know, you rolled yourself a joint, and I was the master at doing a 5-skin joint, and one of these days I'm going to show you how to roll a 5-skin out of cigarette papers. It would take probably half an hour for it to really to start working in. So it used to take a long time.
It is very mellow. It will creep on you.
Oh, I'm sure it will.
A nice little creeper. I really liked sampling this one because I had a whole bunch of cleaning I needed to do in the house and no motivation. Darn if that didn't work just fine.
If it numbs the pain, it's gonna give you gain.
Sure. All I know is my bathroom's clean.
2 thumbs up.
Yes.
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 Most excellent. Is there anything else you want to cover?
No.
I mean, I didn't do this in my frightfully posh British accent, did I, darling?
Well, that's it for another episode of Greetings from Colorado. Thank you so much for joining me and my friend Nigel Aves. And we'll see you on another episode. Remember, Greenings
Greenings.
for a greener world.
A very greener world.